Happy Monday, everyone. It's the start of a new week, and the start of a new video. When's the last time you said something you immediately wished you could take back? It's something that we all do at some point. Saying something in the heat of the moment when your emotions are running wild and your brain just kind of spits something out before you've even had a chance to think about it. And sometimes a moment like that matters. Sometimes that reaction can make things worse, and sometimes it's also just not worth it. Today, I want to talk about that moment, and I want to try and explain how I believe that despite it not feeling like it, you actually can have a lot of control in a moment like that. And I'll start off with a bit of an example. Not long ago, I got this text from a friend. Not a close friend, it's more like someone that I used to talk to, but just not so much anymore. It's the kind of person who rarely checks in, but when they do, it's usually to pick at the negatives instead of the positives. And that's exactly how this conversation played out. The message, or the conversation rather, was about how my progress has been towards my degree, how the working out routine has been going, just in general, how has life been? And instead of being supportive of the progress or saying something like, I don't know, anything amongst the line of, hey, that's cool, they hit me with the better late than never, huh? And I felt that, that sting. A heat in my chest was rising, and I'm putting in a lot of work, right? I'm putting in a lot of effort to get somewhere that I want to be. And this person is just brushing it off, dismissing all of the good that has happened, all the progress that has been made over the years. And I'm not the kind of person who takes kindly to that, whether it's my own progress or someone else's. I just think that that ain't right. And so my first instinct was reply in the most blunt, passive-aggressive way possible. But then I paused. And I didn't even mean to, really. I just kind of stopped for some reason. And I looked at the message again. I read what I had typed, and I asked myself, why am I replying like this? What's the goal here? Am I trying to defend myself? Am I trying to win an argument that hasn't even happened yet? Am I trying to prove a point? And the more that I sat with it, the more I realized that this wasn't going to help anything in the long run. It wouldn't change their mind, and in short term, it would give me the satisfaction of a victory, but like I said, in the long run, it wouldn't do much. So I just left it. No mic drop, no clap back, just left on read. And that tiny pause between typing a message and hitting send, that was the most important part of that whole conversation. That was the moment that mattered. Because it's something that I think more people could use in their lives. Because when we react emotionally, especially to something that hurts or feels unfair, our brains go into this automatic mode, like a fire alarm that's going off, and your brain's screaming, danger, there's a fire, you gotta do something now. A lot of media plays into that. A lot of, think of any kind of article with a clickbait title, it instills a reaction, whether positive or negative. And that system, that sort of knee-jerk response, it has a purpose. Our brains are wired to react fast when we sense a threat, which makes sense when you're in actual danger. But in normal day-to-day life, your brain sometimes treats a rude comment or an annoying text or anything you could perceive as a threat the same way it would treat a charging bear. It goes full panic mode, adrenaline, fight, flight, freeze, that sort of stuff. Except in this situation, you're not in danger. You're just annoyed or hurt or maybe overwhelmed, whatever, really. And that's where that control comes in that I was talking about. That's where that pause comes in. If you can give yourself 4 or 5 seconds, the part of the brain that handles threats calms down enough to the point where the more rational part of the brain, the one that handles logic and long-term thinking, steps in and says, hey, hang on a second. You said there was a fire here, but there isn't. Should we even be freaking out at all? And this pause, it's not just for anger. You know, when you're feeling anxious and you realize it, you can pause. If you find yourself stuck in a spiral of procrastination, you can pause. Even in a conversation, a face-to-face conversation, when someone says something that hits a nerve, you're allowed to take a moment. You don't have to be lightning fast with your reactions. You're allowed to breathe. And I get that, you know, you might think pausing might feel really awkward. Like, am I not being weird for not responding immediately? But to be honest, I think that pause is just kind of where that conversation is at. It's where you are, and that's also where the power is. Because it's the space between reacting and choosing how to respond. It's reacting versus responding. It's, I don't know, like in Monster Hunter, it's the choice between attacking or blocking. And sometimes you just have to read the monster, its patterns, before you can make a decision on that. Like, we all know how to pause in a video game, right? You hit a button, the whole world freezes around you, and you can essentially just get up and go do whatever. Think about what to do next, grab a snack, you know, you name it. And in real life, you can do the same thing, sort of. You can pause, just not forever. So, whether you're dealing with criticism or stress or just trying to slow your mind down, I hope that this can serve as a quiet reminder that you're allowed to take your time.